Who would have thought a movie with a trailer this bad would turn out to be so awesome? Well, talk about the perfect and never judge a movie by its trailer movie. Paddington, directed by Paul King, and is the first entry in the Paddington trilogy over a span of 10 years. Paddington tells the story first beginning in Peru, in the Amazon, where we see explorer Montgomery Clyde befriend two bears, Lucy and Pastuzo, voiced by Imelda Staunton and Michael Gambon, and they adopt their nephew, and after Uncle Pastuzo is tragically killed in a earthquake. Aunt Lucy goes into the home for retired bears, and the young orphan travels to London by selling marmalade, and where he's taken in by the Brown family, Mrs. and Mr. Brown, played by Sally Hawkins and Hugh Bonneville, and their two children, Judy and Jonathan, and they name him Paddington after the station Paddington, where they first meet him. Though Paddington does struggle initially to adapt to London house life. When he comes into contact with Montgomery Cline's daughter, played by Nicole Kidman, the Browns have a race against time to rescue their newest furry family member. Never underestimate David Heyman as a producer. You can't go wrong with the guy. I mean, this man has produced the Wizarding World, Wonka, Barbie, and of course Paddington. He brings a magic to somehow everything he touch. Him and his Studio Heyday films touch, and when I saw the teaser for Paddington in 2014, I first heard there was going to be a live action Paddington movie. I had only seen the animated Paddington series and had read the books, and my mama was a devoted fan. We even had a Paddington figure, but I was in utter shock at how well, absolute garbage the trailers were. So whoever did the trailers for this movie should be fired on the spot, because the trailers and the movie itself are a world apart. They are like chalk and cheese, and yeah, Paddington was one of the most surprisingly awesome films of 2014, and 2014 did seem to be a year of legit surprises, from the Lego movie to this, and this is one of the absolute greatest family movies of the 2010s, and a near perfect way to bring Paddington into live action. And this is Paul King's second best movie, behind only Paddington 2. Yes, I did say in my initial Paddington 2 review 7 years ago that I didn't think that sequel was better than the original, but now I've changed my mind, and now I prefer Paddington 2 over the first. So not everything I said in that review entirely holds up today. But this is still a super strong beginning to what would go on to be such a good trilogy, and I, I mean, and this is one of the go-to movies to represent British filmmaking. And fun fact: some of this movie was shot at Hatfield House, which is not so far from where I am at all. I had no idea until recently, but the not only is Paul King a well a terrific filmmaker with family films, and the Paddington source material fits him and David Heyman like a glove. But also the entire cast, wow, it is uh, pitch perfect. Not a single actor in Paddington is just doing it for a paycheck. Everybody in this cast is passionate, even the voice actors who voice the three CGI bear characters in the film are Paddington, Aunt Lucy, and Uncle Pastuso, and Ben Whishaw, who you may have seen as Q in the Daniel Craig Bond movies. He is bloody brilliant as the most lovable cinematic CGI bear, and Paddington is just extremely likable. He just yes, he has such a good heart. He's even willing to return a wallet to who he doesn't know is a thief. But that's what's so naive about him. He still has lots to learn about the world and how not everybody he meets can be trusted. But he is lucky to have met the Browns who do greatly help him uh, adjust to London life. And this is the second David Heyman produced movie where our protagonist is orphaned. Wouldn't it be surprised if Hagrid broke down the door of the Browns and just said to Paddington, "You're a bear, Paddington." I'm sure that this movie increased the sales of Marmalade big time over the past 10 years. And the film doesn't just rush ahead to when Paddington goes to London. No, the entire opening scene and prologue is dedicated to show Paddington's childhood with Aunt Lucy and Uncle Pastuso in the jungles of Peru. We get just enough time to know Paddington's aunt and uncle to make Uncle Pastuso's tragic fate in the earthquake. That's a much more upsetting, and I gotta say that earthquake scene pretty damn intense stuff, and to have well uh, Umbridge and Dumbledore voice the two bears, it works so well. And and talking of that, there's another Wizarding World actor in this movie, Julie Walters, Molly Weasley herself as Mrs. Burrs, and she doesn't do her normal voice for this role. She puts on a Scottish voice, and it is so hilarious and adds hugely to her charm. And I'm so pleased they did a lot with Mrs. Bird. She is as much included in the story as the Browns, and she even saves the day and saves Paddington's life by the climax. The Browns themselves are exactly as I pictured them in live action, from Sally Hawkins being the best of casted of them, as she's so wonderful, and just her smile and her wholesomeness is just so uplifting. So yeah, it does pain me that she is not going to be returning for Paddington in Peru. That something's going to be missing without her. Then Downton Abbey's Hugh Bonneville as Mr. Brown, and Mr. Brown is the character who changes more than the others in the film, because he takes the longest to accept Paddington as a Brown family member. He's initially reluctant to take Paddington in, but by the end of the film, his heart does grow 3 sizes, and he does finally stick up for Paddington in the end. Judy and Jonathan, wow, well, excellent child actors who play them, and it's so sweet how Paddington brings the Browns together by coming into their lives, as the Browns are initially seen as a dysfunctional family in their introduction at the station. They bicker a lot, and Judy just wants her to be a solitary person all the time with her headphones on. But the Browns do get a lot closer when they're looking after Paddington and are just amazed and so charmed by him. Not only does the Amazon in Peru for the scenes in look absolutely stunning, but London looks so fancy and beautiful throughout the film. And Montgomery Clyde's daughter, played by the one and only Nicole Kidman herself, and she turns out to be a huntress. I mean, I know I initially said she was the better of the two Paddington antagonists, but I think now looking back on it, I think Hugh Grant worked better as the villain. But yeah, Nicole Kidman, she does a serviceable job with what she's given. She's just not in the movie a great deal. At least she doesn't get to truly shine until the third act. So when uh, she has Paddington in her grasp, and that's the thing. I think the Paddington movies don't particularly have the best of villains. That is what one nitpick you could say against them. Uh, but the like, but the comedy, I gotta say, caught me off guard by the um, how hysterically funny it was, and I was put off by the humour from that teaser trailer with Paddington jamming the toothbrushes into his ears and just fucking up the bathroom and the bather coming down the stairs. I was like, oh. Really, David Heyman, you're just gonna produce a Paddington movie that's all childish jokes, but no, no, the humor was a way more subtle and more smartly written than a lot of other family movies, particularly modern ones, and it takes advantage of Paddington's naivety and curiosity about the world to push the comedy. So that bathroom scene in the movie 10 times more hilarious than it ever was in the trailer, thankfully. And there's even, well, moments when you are worried or sick about Paddington, and Paddington nearly dies when he's climbing up the chimney outside the museum, for example, and he leaps and he nearly falls to his death towards the furnace, only to be thankfully be caught by the Browns at the last second. It's a big whoa moment. So, yeah. And overall, while Paddington may not quite be a masterpiece, it is still a quality family motion picture, and it's certainly one of the surprise gems of 2014. I can see why Chris Stuckman regretted not seeing it in theatres. I give Paddington 4 stars out of 5. Great movie. So happy I could celebrate Paddington's 10th anniversary this way, and just warming up for my Paddington in Peru review. We'll see uh, if it's can stay as consistently great as the first two in the trilogy. If it can, then Paddington may be one of the best British trilogies since the Johnny English trilogy. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on Paddington 2014? And which is your favourite of the first two Paddington movies? Please comments and let me know. Please like this here and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time when I review Paddington in Peru. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.